Hello. Let me check my volume here. Welcome. I'm not sure if anybody is on for tonight because I forgot to do a video about tonight. So let me get to YouTube real quick here and see. I normally do the live stream Wednesday nights at Katrina says, but it's Tuesday. I know, yes. I normally do the live streams 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays. However, I'm going to be traveling pretty much the vast majority of tomorrow. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to actually get situated and be able to do the live stream tomorrow or not. So I told some people that I was going to do at least some semblance of a live stream tonight, and then we'll resume our normal schedule the following week. So Evie says, "Hi Dana, what's going on? I feel like we were all being summoned. Does it feel like the bat signal has been broadcast?" I was just saying I forgot to do a video, but I'm going to be traveling most of the day tomorrow, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get situated in time to do the live stream, and even if I am, I'm not sure what my internet connection is going to be, because this happened, I think it was last year, where the connection was too slow to live stream. So I thought we would do some semblance of a live stream tonight. So Evie says, yes, it's a secret bat signal. It totally is, but it's like a heart. It's like, yeah, we'll broadcast that. And then the hat is because I got stuck in traffic driving home from work, and I took my hat off, and it's not good under here at all. And there was no time to fix what was going on under here. So it was a split-second decision, and the hat is staying on, because it's very mullet looking, very like Rod Stewart circa like 1987 going on under here. It's not good. So just to let you guys know. Ryan is here. Hello. Kai Cools connected. Alex, Nicola. So lots of people are on tonight. I'm so glad that I was able to get through to the people that are here. So that's good. And I'm sorry for the last minute notice. Nicola says, "Hi, lovely. I can't stop looking at my narc's Facebook. Everything else is no contact, but I can't cope with not knowing about him and his new target." Okay, so this is a very common thing. Lots of people tend to do this, and there's a couple of things I'd like to say about this. I think it helps to remind yourself that whatever you're going to find there is going to bring you pain. Seriously, like there's nothing good that can come from that. So trying to slow that down in your mind, where when you're catching yourself opening up the Facebook tab, to tell yourself, okay, I'm opening up this tab to go look at his Facebook page, and this is going to cause me pain. And like saying that out loud, so you're getting through to yourself, you're breaking that that like reactive, impulsive kind of thing, because I think people tend to check up on them on Facebook. It's a way of getting closure. It's a way of in a weird way, trying to keep control over the situation. And it's hard. It's hard to break that. But if you can try to replace, okay, so part of it is just being honest with yourself, being like, okay, I'm going to go here. It's going to cause me pain. And then asking yourself, what can you do different? So maybe that's knowing this is going to cause me pain. Can you go to a different group on Facebook, whatever group that is, whether it's a support group, whether it's something totally unrelated, like looking at pictures of puppies, like totally unrelated. Do something different that kind of substitute that. And then ideally just get off Facebook if the temptation is too much. But I really think it does help to remind yourself that whatever you're looking for, you're not going to find. You're just going to find a bunch of pain. So the other part to that is realizing, okay, every single thing that we do, that people in general do, it's always to meet some sort of need. It's always to serve some sort of purpose. Whether or not we're consciously aware of that is a totally different story. Generally, we're not. But if you can think about your behavior in that way, then it gets really interesting. Really interesting. So not even just with like the Facebook profile thing, but just any problematic behavior that you might have in general, where you're like, you know what? Why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I going to his Facebook when I know I'm going to find pain? Why am I, why did I drink too much the other night? Or why am I sleeping 12 hours a day? These kinds of things. And then being as honest as you possibly can with yourself, then you can kind of better understand what's driving you to do a lot of that. So it can really be kind of a doorway into something a lot deeper. Because again, everything that we do it because it's meeting some sort of need. And then if you can find a way to meet that need in a healthier way, then the pull of that is going to really lessen. So for example, if, for me, when I get really stressed out, I sleep a lot, like 14 hours a day. I just am exhausted physically and emotionally. And so realizing, okay, I'm sleeping because I'm exhausted and because it's a way of me avoiding doing these things that are causing me all of this overwhelm. So knowing that, it's like, okay, this is how I'm dealing with overwhelm. I don't want to deal with overwhelm that way because, you're missing your life if you're sleeping that much, right? What are some other ways that I can deal with this overwhelm? I could call a friend, I could journal, I could stop working on certain projects or whatever's overwhelming me. I could set a timer and only work on them for like 20 minutes. I could stop responding to whatever emails, or I could turn off my computer at a certain time every day. I could take designated days off. So kind of troubleshooting that. So for your situation, very much the same thing, right? So figuring out, okay, what's driving me to do this? Is it that I'm trying to get closure? Is it that, generally that's, I think, kind of what it is, especially if things ended abruptly. To think about, okay, what other ways could I potentially get closure? What other ways can I just move forward with this that aren't causing me as much pain as continuing to go to his Facebook account and seeing pictures of them together? So it might be telling yourself, because I think a lot of times if these relationships end suddenly, we're left trying to scramble for a reason why. Like, why did things end? And so if a person's trying to make sense, if they're trying to make logical sense out of an illogical situation, then that'll just spin them in a loop. And then they're going to continue trying to hunt for information in order to piece things together so, things make sense. If you can just tell yourself, you know what, this relationship ended, obviously this person was not mature enough to either deal with this directly, they moved on at light speed. Giving yourself some sort of reason, something to cling to, some sort of reason to be like, yeah, this is what was going on, or, this is why things had to end. And kind of pinpointing reasons, I think, can help just relax your brain and be like, yeah, this is why this didn't happen. And and it'll help, I think, too, for you to get out of that comparison mode, because a lot of people have that. And when a relationship ends, when something that we have is yanked away, this is a common thing that all people experience. We want it back that much more. It's like a little kid. They might have a toy. They know deep down, like they're not really into that toy. But if somebody else starts playing with that toy, then they want it back all the much more. So oftentimes with relationships, even if they're not good, if somebody breaks up with us, especially if they move on at light speed, it can make them seem even more appealing to us because now somebody else has them. But the reality is, if we're honest with ourselves, this probably wasn't a good match to begin with. And realizing that it takes some time to just like let go and to move on and to heal from all of this. That's assuming that this is like in the ballpark of a normal relationship. If you're talking the highs and lows of a narcissistic relationship, it can be so much more intense. It's so much more than just like moving on, right? I think we can all relate to that. So I would encourage you to try to substitute, to crowd out the stuff that you're doing with things that are positive. So taking time to maybe go to a different group on Facebook, or if Facebook is too much of a temptation for you, going and doing something very different. Go on YouTube, go watch some comedy on YouTube. Do something to distract you and to potentially, ideally, change your emotional state. That's why I think comedy can be so helpful, because it's same with music. It's a really easy way for us to change how we feel without having to like ground ourselves and kind of do all of these like mental gymnastics into making ourselves feel better, because we just get carried away in a movie or in comedy or or in music. It's just an easy way for us to pretty much instantly change how we feel. So I hope that helps, but it will go away with time. So, let's see, let me scroll down. Diana's here. Lauren is here. Elise is here. Ooh, that's a good question. Elise says, I'm feeling discouraged at how many narcissists I have encountered. I never got any real empathy in my life. How many people are actually not at all narcissistic or manipulative? That's a great question. Well, I can't give you a number, but I will say it really does seem like there's quite a few people out there that are problematically, narcissistic. And what you're experiencing, kind of this wake up, this wave of realization, is also something that's very normal. In fact, I was just talking to a coworker and friend of mine today at work about this exact same thing, and we were saying, like, man, it's so wild when you really start examining your life and how many problematic people have been in it, and how we didn't see it, how we just didn't see it for so long. And for me, and I think this is the same for like a lot of people, is starting to realize, oh my gosh, because generally what brings us to a site, to like a YouTube channel like mine, right, or a website about narcissism or what have you, tends to be like one specific relationship that's so over the top, like Lifetime TV movie, outrageous nightmare train wreck of a situation. But as we go through it, we oftentimes start realizing, oh, wait a minute, no, it's not just this dynamic with this person. Like, this has kind of been, I've had a lot of problematic relationships and friendships. And then it can get very discouraging, thinking like, oh my gosh, have I ever had a friendship or relationship that like was with, normal, decent people? So I think a lot of people struggle with that. Here's kind of my thoughts on this. Alignment, okay, with listening to ourselves, listening to our inner wisdom, listening, having healthy boundaries, knowing what is right for us. This stuff isn't taught. If anything, the exact opposite is taught, and we're discouraged to have healthy boundaries. Like, we live in a really weird society, and that's not even just like American society. That's just, I think, societies in general. And because we have all these expectations from our parents, from friends, from school, from a career, culture, religion, gender. I mean, all different types of influence on us, telling us what we should and shouldn't be. And so that's, by the age of 5, I think most kids, their true sense of individuality, that's been really like discouraged and broken for them to fit inside the mold. And sometimes I think this is done intentionally when you have more like, abusive people in any of those spheres of influence. And sometimes I think it's done unintentionally, where, our parents were raised like that, or this is just how certain things have been done, or, there's just all of these outdated mindsets that people tend to keep bringing forward with them. And so nobody's really taught this. Okay, I think first and foremost, because I think a lot of people think, oh no, I'm just now figuring out that I've been out of alignment my whole life, and I'm so behind the ball, and I'm so late to the dance, and everybody else has it so figured out. But the reality is, I don't really think that many people do have it figured out. And those people that do have it figured out, it's kind of the whole, good judgment comes from bad judgment. So the people that have had this stuff kind of figured out, it's because they've been burned so many times that's what was the catalyst for them to figure it out. So, yes. So I don't, this is a big wake-up call for a lot of us. And that's kind of both, I think, the blessing and the curse in this is realizing, starting to examine, like, where did I get this from? Like, where did I get this idea from that I should tolerate this kind of behavior, or that I should tolerate being treated this way, or that this is what forgiveness was about, or this is what it means to have a good marriage, or this is what it meant to be a good significant other to somebody, or like, where did I get these messages from? And perhaps more importantly, what really works for me? Like, who am I? And what are my deal breakers? What are my deal makers? Where am I? It's all about self-awareness. It's all about knowing yourself. It's all about knowing yourself on such a deep level where you're like, okay, I know, I trust my judgment. I trust my perceptions of people and of situations. I know when things are right for me. I know when things are wrong for me, based on, maybe certain deal breaker criteria that you actually think about and have kind of at the forefront of your mind, but also based on like knowing how you feel, so like, how you feel when you're in alignment. Like, you're feeling empowered, you're feeling inspired. At a minimum, you're feeling comfortable and calm and safe. And so when we're not feeling that way, that's a sign that something's out of whack. And what do we need to do? And this is, again, where it comes back to self-awareness and turning inward and being like, what do we need to do in order to get back into alignment? Generally, it means some sort of action needs to be taken. Either we're realizing that person's problematic, or that we need to distance ourselves completely, possibly, or we need to set more of a boundary, or we need to say something, or something needs to happen there. But yes, lots of people when they start down this path, they're absolutely horrified by just how many narcissistic, like problematic, highly problematic people they've had in their life. So Evie says, I have memory loss and I'm exhausted to the point of not functioning. I just have felt so sick physically, even since 6 months ago when I found out about my ex's double life and then I went no contact. Okay, that's also very normal. So pretty much everything that you guys are thinking and feeling is very normal for going through a highly problematic situation. Like, it's normal to feel highly problematic, right? And to have like this whole mix of emotions when we've gone through something that's problematic, just for the record. So memory loss is a big part of that. Feeling exhausted is also a big part of that. So that exhaustion tends to come from emotional stress, and then just which results in physical stress and just being absolutely worn out. It's a lot to process. When our brain is continually processing things and trying to figure something out, it's emotionally draining. And it's interesting because we oftentimes don't think of the brain power that's required to continue to think about something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, or to try to piece something together. Or sometimes if we're feeling a lot of stress, the energy that's required just to get through the day can be absolutely, it can feel like you're climbing a mountain every single day. So, but it's very, very normal, very much a part of it, especially when if you had this type of situation where everything seemed normal or even ideal, and then all of a sudden you came across a double life, that's incredibly traumatic because it really doesn't add up. It's like, well, wait a minute, there weren't any signs that this was going on. They seemed like my perfect partner, but now I find out, they've been actively working against me the whole time. They're off doing whatever they're going to do. And what signs did I miss? How did this happen? How can I not have this happen again? How can I trust somebody again? There's all of this stuff that's swimming around generally in people's minds. And the memory loss tends to be when our brains are starting to process something that's traumatic. Traumatic memories aren't cohesive. There's so many interesting things about trauma, and that's one of them. So it's not a cohesive thing. Like you would think that it would be, like any other event that happens, right? So like if I don't know, like we can recount the story of our day, right? I went to work and, I whatever, like your morning routine, and then I went to work, and these are the events that happened at work, and these are the order of the events that happened at work, and then I got in my car, and you can tell like this timeline of events. When a person undergoes something traumatic, it oftentimes feels like a bomb